Hi everyone, welcome back to Brookdale Farm. Well, our hay is almost dry and ready to bale. As you can see, the clouds in the background don't look that great, so it will depend a little bit on the weather over the next couple of days. We got a mill of rain yesterday and last night on this, which won't damage it, it just makes it a little bit damp, and it'll take a little bit longer to dry right out again. This year, for the first time, we are hoping to round bale some of our hay. So, and once we round bale it, we need to be able to pick it up and move it into the shed, or move it out of the paddock at least. So our job for today is to make a set of hay forks to go on the front of our little Massey Ferguson front end loader here. To start building our hay forks, we've got two hay forks that we bought. These are expensive, and they only had two of the size I wanted, so I've got to get a third one to go in the middle. These are really strong high carbon steel. You can just make them out of pipe or something, but it is better to use the proper ones. And they've got a taper down this end that goes into the backboard of your forks. And they come with one of these tapered cups that they fit into, that you can weld into the frame. So with the first thing to do is to start making up the frame to hold these. Okay, so we're going to build our rear frame to look something like this. One of the things when you're building anything like this is how heavy do you need to make it? We are not trying to lift big square bales with this. We're only going to be doing the round bales, and they weigh about 300, bit under 350 kilos each. So it only needs to be able to lift that. If we make it too heavy, then we're just lifting a lot of dead weight in our frame all the time, and that reduces, because our front end loader is only small, that reduces what we can actually lift on the forks. So we're using a couple of bits of 100 by 50 RHS, 1200 millimeters long, and this is heavy wall steel, so these two bits do weigh a fair bit. We're going to cut holes in them to weld the cups into to take the forks. We've got some heavy wall 50 by 50 to go on either side, and we'll put one in the middle as well. And then we're going to make up a little bit of a backboard out of some lighter patio tube. I think that's 75 mils. Something like that anyway. Now this is all made out of scrap at the moment, other than the forks and the cups. So use whatever you've got lying around in your rubbish tip to make these things up. The other thing that we need to make sure that this frame is going to fit is, at some point we're going to make up a Euro quick hitch for the tractor. So our frame needs to fit these quick hitch brackets onto it as well. And I don't know if we're going to get that done in the next couple of weeks before we start picking up bales, but we'll see how we go. But everything needs to be built around these brackets so that these brackets can work properly. Now we also, once we work out where our brackets are going, we can also work out exactly where our forks are going. So we will put one fork in the middle, and then one on either side. They need to fit around the brackets and where the arms for the front end loader go, so that they don't foul on them. Okay, so we've roughly marked everything out, and if you're making one of these for yourself, you need to just work out what size bales you're going to be picking up with your particular tractor to work out where you might want everything and make these dimensions fit what you need. We've decided to we're going to put 3 hay spears on, 500 millimeters apart, so one at each end, one in the middle. We've got our Euro hitch brackets. You can buy these brackets too. You can get some real cheap, real lightweight ones. These are heavier duty brackets that I got. I think they were about $85 a pair or something like that. They're not that cheap, but also they're not that expensive either. So on the inside, to the inside of the hooks needs to be 1000 millimeters, 1 meter apart, so that these will fit on any Euro hitch that we might want to use. The inside to the inside is 740 millimeters on the bottom. They are closer in than the hooks on the top there. So the next thing that we need to do is cut the holes for these cups to go into. Now, to cut the holes for these are 50 millimeters diameter outside. We're just going to use a hole saw. None of the shops around us had a 50 mil hole saw, so this is 51 millimeters, which will give us 1/2 mil clearance on either side. That won't be too bad. That'll give us a little bit of wriggle room just to make sure everything is straight before we weld everything firm. So we're going to set this up on the drill press and cut these holes next. Apparently I didn't press the record button on the camera hard enough, and I missed the footage of drilling the holes in for the cups, but here's a picture of the drill press set up with the hole saw drilling holes for something else. Okay, so we've got the basic frame laid out here. We've got it sitting on a couple of bits of wood at the moment. So next we're going to start tacking all the corners together on this, and to do the welding today we're going to be using our Lincoln tractor pack. These are a great old DC welder, reasonably indestructible, although this one's been sitting for a while, so hopefully it still works without me doing too much work to it. Okay, so we've got our frame all welded, and we've just tack welded the 2 quick hitch brackets in place for the moment too. The next thing I want to do is get this top rail welded on. Now, this was all a bit of a guess about what size I wanted this to be. I've made it another 300 mils higher. That gives us a total of 600 from the bottom to the top, and the corners I have cut at 22.5 degrees. I originally tried 45s, but that just brought it into too much of a triangle, and that would probably work too, but I just thought this looked a bit better. It's just a matter of personal choice at this point. So I'm going to get these cleaned up and get these welded on next. Alright, so we've got our backboard all welded on. The next thing we need to do is set up and weld the cups to take the spears. Now, these have 2 tapers on them, so they have a front and a back. The very short taper here is for the nut on the spear to sit in. That is the back of the cup. The front of the cup has quite a gentle deep taper, and that's where the spears sit in. I'm going to put the two that I have on the outside, and I'm going to get a slightly longer one to go in the middle. But yes, the next thing to do is to set that up and weld them into place. Alright, so we've got our forks set up in here now with the cups in place, ready to weld them. I've put the forks in because this just helps us make sure we get everything square and straight, and holds the cups in the right spot. So obviously you want to try and keep all your forks parallel so they slide in and out of the hay better. You also want to not have them at a different up and down angle. And we want to make sure that our cups are in the same position front and back on them. I've chose to have 20 millimeters sticking out the back here, because I don't want it to foul with the quick hitch and stuff like that. So I'm going to weld these in now, and we'll come back after that. Alright, we've got them welded. Obviously we still need to get the third spear to go in the middle, but so far I think it's looking pretty good. Okay, so we've got our third spike now, and that's set up in the middle, ready to weld. And the last thing is I've made up a piece to go in here, just to give it a bit more strength. Particularly, it will stop it twisting here. It'll just help hold that a bit more rigid. So we're going to weld them in, and we're almost done. Well, so far that's turned out pretty well. We'll just let it cool down a bit, and we'll put a bit of paint on it, and we're pretty much done. Well, I think the bale forks have turned out fairly well. You can of course just buy these straight off the shelf, and I've probably only saved a little bit of money building it myself, but I've also had the satisfaction of doing the project, and it's always fun to build something and then have something that works well for use for a long time to come. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!